Hello, this is Matthew Chan.
And Martha Leverett.
And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the payroll process. Now, this is not meant to be a tutorial in terms of how to do payroll for yourself, because I really think that it's a fairly complicated procedure. But we do feel like that because we do offer the payroll service, we want to give you some of the highlights of what's involved so that you can appreciate that it's not just a simple matter of simply writing a check and out it goes, right, Martha?
Right.
There's a lot
Definitely.
involved in payroll.
Yes.
And the reason why I know payroll is a real sticky issue is because years ago when I did payroll for people, I mean, there were steep penalties if you didn't do things correctly. Can you tell us about that?
Well, okay, so with your payroll, you deduct from your employees' checks, federal and state, that you turn around and pay for them. Then there's Social Security and Medicare, which they pay part and you as their employer pay part. Depending on the size of your payroll, you may pay this monthly or quarterly. You have to do reports quarterly. Even if you're paying monthly, the reports are quarterly. Then you have your state unemployment tax that you have to pay, your federal unemployment tax that you have to pay on your employees. All the reports you have to do at the year end. You have to do all your W-2s for your employees. If you have subcontractors, you have 1099s that you have to send out to all of them. And starting this year, something new is if you were just doing your payroll yourself, employees are only paying 4.2% of the Social Security, and employers are paying 6.2%.
Wow, really?
So yeah, so that makes the little program a little more interesting, I would say, because you can't just go in there and take their gross amount and multiply it by a set thing and know that you pay part and they pay part. Now they pay a lesser part for 2011, but the employers still pay the higher part.
Right.
And you have to keep up with this. I mean you can do it like in QuickBooks or some other payroll program, but you still have to stay on top of it and on top of, laws. Like Georgia just started a new thing. If you pay, if you deduct more than $500, you now have to go and report online. You can't even do it manually. Fill out your little form and mail it in. You have to.
I wouldn't know this.
Yeah,
see?
you have to do these things online. Federal, yeah, you have to do federal online now, or either on the phone. You can do a call in and they deduct it from your bank account. Used to, you could go take your little slip to the bank and they would record it for you. But now it's getting to where they're a little more strict on how they want it and how you have to turn it into them.
Well, when I was doing payroll, of course this was many years ago, but I still think the principles are the same, is that every year the tax tables change, am I right?
Yes.
It's every year.
Every year.
I mean, there's a subtle change. It may not be dramatic, but there's a difference. And
Yes.
it has to be updated every year.
Yes, every
now,
year.
in the old days, you could do it manually, but nowadays, you've got to subscribe to the updates.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's also another issue here, is that although the reporting issue is required, more importantly, businesses have been shut down when you don't make the deposits in a timely fashion.
Yes.
There are steep penalties.
Yes.
And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's a criminal offense. The government takes it very seriously if you're withholding and you don't make the deposits.
Yes, because it's not your money.
Exactly. And you know what? You can't delay it.
Yes.
You've got to do it on time.
It has to be on time.
It is very punishing, as I understand it.
Yes.
Even if you withhold correctly, but you're just a little slow getting in. They don't like that either.
No. If you withheld it from that employee's check, you're basically holding their money to send it in. Yeah, to send it in to the federal government. You're withholding the federal and the state and Social Security and Medicare, which is also called FICA, from their check. And then it's your liability to turn around and pay that in a timely fashion, plus your part of the FICA, Social Security and Medicare that you have to pay. But yes, they are very strict and very.
Yeah.
They will come shut your doors.
Right. So you got to get it correct, all right, which is a challenge in itself because of the annual updates and with all these law changes. But you have got to make sure that money has been put aside and you got to deposit it where it needs to be.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And so anyhow, whether you got a staff of yourself, one, or more than one, it could be 10 or 20 people, I really think the payroll function is a very important one, and it can get you in a lot of trouble. I typically don't like to I don't like to engage in fear mongering. Okay, because that's just not the way I work. But in certain cases like this, I'm going to tell you, you do need to be fearful of the payroll process, because if you don't do it right, you don't submit the money on time, you will get in trouble.
Yes.
Your business is at risk, and you could be personally liable.
Yes. Liable for that, plus all the penalties and interest they tack on top of the money that you owe.
So as a recap, what's involved with the payroll process is not just simply like an hourly or the gross salary. I mean, we have the FICA, which is Social Security.
And Medicare.
We got Medicare. And we've got the state
withheld,
income
and
tax,
federal
income
withheld.
tax. What else is there?
That's what you withhold from the employee.
Yes.
Then you are liable for federal unemployment,
right,
and for state unemployment,
gotcha,
based on the gross that you pay the employees. That has to be paid quarterly.
Right.
Then you have to submit the W-2s by the end of January to the employees and by the end of February to the federal government.
Right.
Or they'll penalize you for just late reporting. Even if you turned in and paid all your, all your taxes, you still have to get all the other stuff in there on time also.
Okay. Now, would you say that nowadays it's almost impossible to do payroll manually? I guess it's possible.
I mean, if you have one or two people, you might
be able to pull it off.
But when you go more than that, I say it's better to have it in some type of system.
Yeah. And let the computer do all the work for you.
Right. And if you're the type that you like to write your own checks, I even had some clients that I would figure the payroll and fax them like a check stub to give to their employee with the handwritten check, if they still wanted to just do handwritten checks and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time to listen to this video where we talked about the payroll issues, and we hope that this video has been helpful to you. And we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.
Thank you.